actually am Jennifer Sherry. I am a professor at Southern Illinois University Carbondale Dental Hygiene Program. And so I actually have class at 1 o'clock here. So I traded classrooms with another faculty to be here. So you'll see on my screen, I have a picture of a dog. That's a Saluki. That is what our mascot is. So I wanted to share that with everybody today. So my case study, I actually did this as a doctoral project for one of my classes. And so I'm going to introduce this project just a little bit with you. I was able to make it into a case study. And so I felt like it was very valuable to share. I would like to kind of describe about assessing the culture of a university when you're looking at hiring a chancellor. That is a very challenging effort that we have to go through. And so you want to really look at the preferred leadership traits and see exactly what types of roles you would like to see the professional be in and to be a valiant part of the university setting. And so looking at organizational structure and multidimensional leadership models was critical for us to do in this case study. And so if there are time for questions at the end, we can go ahead and do that as well. So this is kind of an introduction to what we were tasked with in our course. We actually had a university that was dealing with enrollment declines, difficulties financially, decreasing state funding, which we all know very well about that. Turnover in leadership, when you start having those types of issues, it affects the whole entity. When you're dealing with low rankings, you cannot get quality faculty to be interested in coming to your institution. In decreasing morale, this all kind of goes hand in hand with one another. And so, this case, we were tasked with the ability to kind of share our thoughts with what we expected to see within hiring a chancellor for a new position. So, what's the culture within the university? That's what you first have to look at. I usually look at the word leader and know that the root word is lead. And we all know leaders and how effective they are depends on how they set the stage right off the bat. And I feel like you can have very good leaders in a food pantry, for example, and also a school director can be an excellent leader. Doesn't really matter the entity that is being led, but you have to be very aware that there is a decisive way to lead. Leaders are also working on how they harness effort and lead the flock. And so we all think about our own situations, and we know good leaders and we know very effective leaders. And when that doesn't happen, it really creates a lot of um, issues within the unit. And so we know that communication is paramount, a vision, having a direct vision and a line of engagement is really where it's at. And inspiration to lead a group is very critical as well. And so this was kind of about 5 things that I looked at. John Maxwell has the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, excuse me. And there are 5 different things that I decided to take from that. First of all, character. Be who you say you are. Don't try to snow anyone. Let your character show in each experience. And so that's very important. And I try to do that in my classroom as well as any other part of um, leadership or any type of entity that I'm involved in. And so, very important here in the university setting. Relationships, how those deeper relationships produce great leaders, and how you feel about the person, how trustworthy are they? People will recognize when a leader is has that moment of trust and where you can really reflect upon that. You want to make sure you have a visionary leader, somebody who's not living in the past, that is actually looking toward the future and what can be done. Intuition is very hard to develop, but some people just really have it. And so they recognize how their energy, time, morale, momentum really drives to get things done. And when you're a doer and a get done person, others will follow and they will really embrace that. And so, really an important part of this puzzle as well. And of course, experience. We know that leaders themselves are human. They make mistakes. They need to definitely live that and show that they can persevere past the mistakes and challenges that they have. And make sure that they know and reflect upon that that is something that you have to learn from and move forward. Very important. And so what I usually kind of like to go start out by going through with all of this is making sure that you invite people to share experiences, challenges, and how to learn from those. Making sure that you are a champion for change, involving everyone equally, no matter what their job title is, their rank, or their professional training. I actually try to really make sure, on a personal note, that I appreciate people, not only just for special occasions, just because. And so they just want to know that you care about them. You want to also create a win-win situation. And what I mean by that is giving faculty more responsibility. We do have a lot of responsibility in the classroom, but it's also making that buy-in that's very critical within the situation in the university setting. I usually say here, shoot for the stars and take small steps to get there. Using formative evaluation throughout every process within university setting is critical. So you take a look at each step and reflect upon how that worked, how it didn't work, and areas of improvement that you can learn from. And you want to also have lessons learned and reflect upon those as well. This is kind of a review of organizational structure. And actually, at this university that I am at, we had this happen recently where we had a listening tour of our chancellor. And so I thought, well, I really kind of like that idea. And so he went around to each college and each school and he just listened. He did not say a word, he took notes, he collaborated really well with every program in every school and college on campus. But that way, you develop a pulse. You get a pulse for what's happening within that university and who is influential, who kind of is the mover and the shaker on campus, who gets things done. Where are the underrepresented groups on campus, and how can you build those people up? Very important. And you want to also prioritize all of those situations and make sure that you find what works. And if it didn't, make it better. And you want to also take an attendance at some of the local meetings as far as, for example, here in Carbondale, they could go to a town hall meeting and make sure that they are understanding what the climate is in the community. Talk with people in the community. See how long they've been there. Are they vested or have they lost that momentum? You also need to know if there's any subcultures that exist because there always are, and you want to make sure that you understand where they are coming from as well. You want to look at also local school districts and find out what they're doing and what is working. Are they actually referring students to go to your institution, being a local student? Or are they not even reflective upon that notion? And you want to also make sure that you are looking at possibly eliminating a lot of the standardized tests. I know that it's happening across the country, and that is sometimes not an accurate measurement of student success. So that would be one thing that I would recommend as well. And having a detailed understanding of budgetary issues on campus. I know that when we did this assignment, there were a lot of things that I didn't know, that I thought that I had an idea. Being here almost 24 years now, I have a pretty good grasp, but not about the budget. So that's something that I had a lot to learn about. Now, these are some leadership models that I would suggest reviewing if I were doing this case study again. First of all, the Mintzberg model takes and suggests to start with a mixture of simple structure. You have to be flexible and adaptable as well, and make sure that you remove any type of bureaucracy if that can be done. Because sometimes that tends to muddy or cloudy the water a little bit. The burn bomb model also deals with a lot of building on consensus. That's the collegial side, as well as shared governance, which is the political side of the model. Bowman and Deal four frame model looks at structural and human resource frame, is what I selected for this case study. And the team will actually know their roles and responsibilities to maximize those efforts. You want to set goals, you want to look at objectives and empower and improve morale right from the get go. It's very important to have that buy in and have people engaged. You've got to have that immediately. And then last but not least, the Baldrige three-dimensional model, which actually takes a look at a mixture between bureaucratic or well-defined rules, which a lot of times people like to be um, kind of mentioned what the goal is and what they need to be working on, and also looking at a collegial side where you're minimizing conflicts. I don't know about you all, but I don't like conflict. I try to avoid conflict. But when it presents itself to me, I try to listen to all sides and make a very educated and diplomatic decision and move forward. And I think that that's important in this case study as well. So here is my information. So if you have any questions further from this presentation, I would definitely invite those. So thank you so much for your time.